Hello, hello, everybody. Good afternoon from here. If you can hear me, I want to say a very big thank you for every one of you that is able to join this challenge at this moment. I know the notification came out, but I think some people are having difficulty with regards to them being able to be added to the link for the Grace Facebook link. And I want to believe that that is being taken care of already. If you can hear me, please type in the chat. Okay, just put a chat in the text and say hello. I would like to see your hi. Hi, everyone. Yeah, today is day one, as it were. And if you are ready, I am ready to start and fire on. But before I do that, I want to quickly say that every one of us that are presently on this page, I want you to go ahead and just give this post. Just head on over there and just let me know that you are right there. Yeah, I want to just start mentioning your names, and I want to believe that if you are currently here, I will just go straight to this. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? Yeah, I want to first ask and to officially welcome you, everybody that I have here in the group. I would like to just appreciate you and say a big thank you. I want to appreciate, I have quite some people here. Let me just go ahead and just mention your name. I have Suhad here. Welcome if you are here. I have Adeni Adiola here. Welcome. I also have Stephen. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. You're most welcome. Yeah, I think I just want to go ahead now and just try and admit any other person. Yeah, that is already on the call, so we could all join together. Thank you very much. Yeah, at the moment I can't see anybody, and I'm just trying to make sure that everybody can hear me, can see me. Please, if you can, I want you to please go ahead and just say hi once you are ready here on the call. And I'm not going to take your time as usual. I'm going to make it short. It is a very, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Now, today, the first day of this training, discover your inner genius. What is the reason for this journey? Why did I choose to go on this encounter, and why did I ask you to join me? If you can hear me, I would like to see your comment and just say hi and tell me wherever you are joining me from. For the first time in my life, I will just tell you as it is that it has not been a smooth road, or it has not been something very easy for me, my journey. Let me say a bit about myself. See, I could see that when you talk about the subject of geniusity, as far as our world when we're growing up was, it was just a case of people that are up there, that have brain, that have intelligent quotient, that once you ask a question like this, in the space of seconds they can produce answer. So growing up in that frame, growing up in that kind of upbringing, every time I see myself not being able to meet up with my colleagues in that space, I always see myself as a failure. That was my experience. I was sharing with some people regardless, and I don't really even have anything to hide. You know, at that time, I had an exam that was to pass if I was ever going to get into the college. And because of that setback, I was failing two major courses subject that I need to pass in order to be able to get that admission to the college. And for 7 years in and out, I will write the exam, I will fail, I will go back and enroll. The second year, I will write again, and it continued until the 7th year. Let me now share what had happened. Now, there was a time that I even attempted to get the admission and because they allowed me to go and try the exam, to get the admission on a part-time basis, that once you have the subjects you are waiting, you will just get enrolled. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. And at that particular year, I went into the school. I took all my luggage. Everybody was already greeting me. This is Diola. You already graduated. You are already in this group. Wow. Everything like that. And only for that result I was waiting for to come out. And at the end, I discovered that I did not pass that one subject I just needed in order to be able to get my full admission, to just translate and, to upgrade me to the full admission. I did not pass. Friends, I did not pass that exam. And that was the shockest moment of my life. At that moment, my mom, I was not raised by my father. By virtue of my upbringing, I was going to be aborted at the earliest, because my mom had me out of no plan. The pregnancy was to be aborted, but for my grandmother and my great-grandmother. And that is why today, when you see me refer to my mom, my grandmother happened to be the person that raised me up, because my mom left me for her and she went back to school. So that story, up to now, when you say my mom, the first reference point, the first reference that I link my mom to has to do with that woman that took care of me, that took me. Now, going away from that story, I went back home when I failed that exam and I could not have the minimum requirements of that subject I was waiting. You can imagine going back home, crying, weeping. I had to leave the premise of the university because I was cutting with somebody, and everybody will go to school, I will be alone. That day, friends, that day, I can never forget. I cried, I wept, and that was the moment that I became a loner. Everything you see in me today that you can connect to, that you want to admire, I tell you, I lost everything. I was crying. I could not go out. When I'm being sent on errand, my mom will deliberately just leave me sometimes because of that shame. Sometimes when I had to go out, I will hide. I will avoid the normal route that every other person will pass, because I know somebody is going to ask you, have you not gone to the school? What are you doing again in the house? What are you doing again? And every year in, year out, I went back again to be writing that. Why I'm saying this? Because every one of us that are mothers, that are parents at this moment, we have to begin to pay attention to our children, to their strength, right from when they are little. At that time when I was failing and I was rewriting that course, if my mom, maybe because of her naivety or maybe because of her own experience too, because this parenting job, they can only do and give what they have. And that's why I salute every mother out there. You are doing a great job. Every mother that is going out of her way to invest in her child, to give her education, to help him or her, you are doing a great job. At that moment, let's say there was a guardian or there's somebody very close to my mom that could have advised my mom, woman, can you get your daughter to enroll in this? Can you ask her to change? And everything has to do with what our world and our environment is being shaped with. We believe that if your daughter did not go to a science-related course, she did not study medicine, law, accounting, or engineering, she's nowhere to be found. And so I was enrolling to become a physiotherapist. And I'm going to be linking this because of a situation that happened. I was hit by a horn-rocking car when I was like age 10. After that accident, I was in the hospital for close to 2.5 months. And all those periods before I could have this leg walk back again, I had to be enrolled in the physiotherapy unit. And every time I go to that section of that physiotherapy unit, I just admire them. I love the way they dress. I love the way they take care of me. They talk to me, as a little girl. And when I was having that mind, I said, when I grow, I'm going to become a physiotherapist. And look at that mind. And I want you to begin to connect back to some of those desires, those experiences you had when you were little, that was shaping what you were going to become, that you are telling yourself inside, even though nobody believed it was going to happen. And why I'm saying this is going to be linked with the subject of IKIGAL. IKIGAL, IKIGAI. Is a Chinese word that has to do with what it means, the reason for your being. So all this innate desire in me to talk, to relate was there, but because I could not connect my strength to that very thing, I was going to be struggling with getting to pass maths, physics, chemistry, biology, and every of those subjects. And I failed. And when eventually I gained the admission, because I was going to bring the story to an end, I gained the admission quite all right, but I went in to study chemistry because that was the only course that my university cutoff point could give me. Because if you are going to do medicine and all those courses, I needed to have scored higher, and I could not score within that range. So you can see already I was already enrolled to fail. And when eventually I did chemistry, and all I had to do is to be shaking Biku and be mixing chemicals and be checking the pH content and be checking the acidity rate and begin to check what is the chemical component of this component in this production, and everything I could see myself do was all in the lab. A part of me keep telling me, Diola, you don't belong here. That I will spend 7 hours a day in the lab. When eventually the opportunity came for me, I told myself the truth. I had to. When I finished that year, 1 year in that organization, I was working with a pharmaceutical company. I went to enroll myself as a volunteer at their sales office. And what were we doing? We were doing institutional talk. We'll go to secondary school, we go to middle school, we go and give talk about the awareness of children getting to know how they need to be dewormed. You know, worm, if it's in the body, then back home in Nigeria, it always troubles the children when they are little. So we give talk to schools and to higher institutions, and we educate them on the knowledge of why they need to do a constant deworming for their kids. And at that moment, I began to see a part of me that goes alive. When those children are being assembled and we sing to them and I talk to them, and at the end of the day, we administer the medication and every one of them looking fine, I always look forward to it. That was the genesis. Friends, discover your inner genius. I want to make it as easy to connect as possible. I don't want to hype it and make it look so difficult. Why am I saying so? Every of those time I was doing those points, thank you very much, Brian, thank you very much for that. Every of those time that I was doing those subjects, I still did not know that this is where I will end. That I am a people person, that I just derive to get to know how people are feeling and to just relate to them and to just get to help each other grow and learn how we can become the best of ourselves. But at that time, I could not add the two together. So the story about my admission came to an end one day that I while I was back home, I now decided to enroll myself into the learning of the piano. Because I was attending a local church and there was nobody to play the piano. The piano was just there. I just told the local pastor to allow me to be taking the piano home. And that was the beginning. I started playing the piano. And when I got to a point, somebody will come from the head church to teach me what I don't know. And I started playing the piano. And immediately what happened? All my mates that have gone to the university to study like medicine and what have you, that day came that we had a local conversion, a local congregation for everybody, an end of the year party, and we all were there. And there was nobody to play the piano. And I just stood up. And do you know what happened? And there was a piano there, nobody to play. And I just went there, I started playing the piano. And at the end of that program we had, the reunion, the who is who that I look up to, that these are the genius. And this story is for a reason. Because we are discovering about how you can discover your inner genius. That guy, one of them came to me and said, Diola, wow, you know how to play the piano? Can you teach me? He confessed. He asked me to teach him how to play the piano. Can you look at the scenario I'm painting? I am looking up to him as a genius because he had straight A's in all his first exam, in his first sitting for the exam that I had to wait for 7 years. And while I was still waiting, he came to ask me to teach him how to play the piano. That day, friends, that day was the day my frame of reference changed. That was the day I began to appreciate that quote by Albert Einstein that states that everybody is a genius, but every attempt that a bird makes to judge himself stupid because he could not swim, he will always think he's stupid. So actually, in reality, every one of us, by organization, by design, we have been endowed by nature, by the universe, by the Almighty, with certain skills, with certain gifts, with certain talent that we, as a result of our growing up, our environment, our upbringing, our experiences, like in my own case, and what people tells us, our education, shape us out of it and tell us, you just want to be doing this. How do you think you are going to make it if you do this? And because of that environment, many of us have locked ourselves up in that space where we have not been able to give life and expression to what truly we desire. And do you know the pointer to this? Anytime you see yourself being paid for a job and you are only doing it just because you needed to be paid, because you have bills, you have obligations to do, that if you are left alone and you are told you should not bother to come in, all your fees will be paid, what is that thing you will do? That very thing you will do when you will not be paid, you don't mind not being paid. That is the secret to what you eventually need to be done. And when I mentioned the subject of IKIGAL, it has to do with the point that there is something you are passionate for. There is something you are good at. There is something you love to do. Please make sure you are following me with this thing. Those very 4 areas is where you are going to lock in what your genius is. This subject of IKIGAL talks about what you love to do, what you are passionate for, what you are being paid for to do, and actually what the world needs, and what you actually love. See, it's like you drawing a Venn diagram. What you love, what you are passionate, and what the world needs. And in that subset, you are there in the middle. Anytime you are able to connect with every of those areas, that is your IKIGAL. The world needs us to stop this racism. The world needs us to put an end to racism. Now, if we're ever going to put an end to racism, somebody needs to do that campaign. Somebody needs to go out there and make that advocacy. Somebody needs to go and begin to educate. I'm using myself as an example. So begin to connect the dots. So when I see myself now teaching and trying to educate people, I have been able to discover something about me, that I love people. I want to see people come together in peace, everybody loving each other and having good connection and robustful relationship. And how can I do that? Can you see? The world needs peace. The world wants everybody to be in unison. I have a skill and I have something inside of me that can help me to organize people and make everybody listen to whatever I have. How can I do that? Okay, today now, I am engaging with every one of you here on this call now. I am doing a kind of awareness. I am helping you to see how you can also pay attention to what has been inside of you but which you have left. And I don't blame you. You are never to be blamed for this. It is a cultural thing. Because we have not been told that this is the only way we don't get to retire in the world frame. You know, when you work to a certain years now, you are going to either be retired or you go for voluntary retirement because you know the body is no longer supporting it. But can I tell you that it is in IKIGAL, it is in you discovering your inner genius. It is in you discovering that very thing that makes you come to life. That very thing that makes you special. That when anybody, even if your friends hate you, she can't ignore you in that area. It is in you paying attention into that thing. That is where the secret to you not retiring is. And have you noticed that sometimes when people retire from active service, from what they have been used to doing, do you notice there is a trend? Sometimes they start getting sick. Sometimes they get wear out. Why? Because maybe for 30 years of their life, they have been used to this kind of job. They just go to the office, they set up a program, and they work on that site, and they send mails to these people, and they organize this, and that is all they have been used to. And immediately when they are plunged out of that work, that withdrawal alone sent a message to the brain and makes them to begin to do what? Entropy. That is the word. Entropy begin to set in, because the body is no longer used to, and the body is no longer doing what is meant to do, that is used to doing. And that is what you don't want to happen to you. Because the only way you will not retire is when actually, before you leave that active work you are doing at the moment, You have taken time, and that is why I want to celebrate and congratulate every one of you that is here on this call with me, because I know you could have been elsewhere, you could have been working, you could have been watching on Netflix or doing any other thing with this time. But for you to give this attention and this space, I want you to know that you are indeed giving a special treatment, and you are giving yourself a special care and love to say that you are interested in how your end is going to be. And that is it. If there's anything I want this challenge to do for you and me, it is to help us to at least identify what we are meant to be doing. Even if you are not there, that discovery alone is going to help you to be able to take charge of your life. It will give you a chance and an opportunity to give a roadmap for yourself and say, okay, I am here now. This is what I'm working on. I am working with this company. I know this is not where I'm needed. I know I'm supposed to be with this sphere. Okay, how can I begin to plan my pivoting? How can I plan my transition? That will be another stage. But to discover it, you need to begin to pay attention to some of these questions. And I'm going to read out. I want you to please give me a yes if you are actually getting. I want you to give me a yes if you are connecting with what I'm sharing, and if you are understanding what I'm trying to come across in this thing. I want you to start by asking yourself that. Imagine yourself sitting down and you are in a beach, or you are just relaxing, maybe at age 90. And I want you to take you a picture to you being 80 or 90, so you feature you relaxing on a cozy chair and rolling and having a cup and a glass and just having your favorite drink. And if you don't want to summarize how you have spent your time, what is that thing that you will want to describe your experience with? How will you describe it? What will you tell yourself? What will you tell yourself? That if you are going to begin the journey to describing your geniusity by designing, what is that thing you will want to be described by? Not your parents' work or present job. And in fact, I will salute you if where you are working at the moment happen to be where you love and what you actually want to do. Just see your place of work as a place of learning, as a place of tutelage, as where you are sitting and going every day to show up to learn. And if you have identified that is what you want, I want to challenge you to give yourself all in, because that is where you begin to learn what it takes. And I see myself now as my personality is that of a teacher, somebody that loves to impact knowledge, somebody that loves to do something. And I want to begin to see that there is nothing that stops you from being paid doing what you love. There's nothing stopping you. There is nothing stopping you. Do you see that the world has come global now? And with regards to globalization, I can decide to take a course now and program and teach it and brand it and put it online. And people can go and learn how to become assertive, how they can be bold, how they can be able to approach life with confidence and boldness, how they can take on with courage on those areas, how they can remove all the 4 major mental blocks that keep plaguing their mental and their mindset from achieving their progress. Can you see all of this topic? I can teach them. And I can begin to help somebody that is stuck in the area of his mindset, that have limiting belief or fear or having fear of stepping out of life, stepping out to doing what they believe, always thinking and second guessing. Do you see how by this virtue of my voice, of my personality, of that desire to teach, can begin to pay me money? That somebody can enroll and I can begin to teach that person. And one of the problems that you and I always have with regards to these cases is, one, we always want to make that assumption of believing that our harvest season, our planting season will be a harvest season. No, friends. If you forget anything from this call, don't forget this statement. Your harvest season is not going to be the same as your planting season. So what happened is that if you are the type that knows how to sing, and some people have complimented you, maybe at work, maybe you're on your break time and you just sing one of your favorite, and somebody say, wow, you got this so beautiful, lovely voice. And you know what? Because of that compliment, and you are going to see something. Don't mind. This is a day in the life of a nursing mom that is aspiring to go out all the way to make her world happen. See, that is it. That very skill and that very talent that somebody have just given you compliment over is a boost, is a thing, is an inkling to you knowing that somebody can be attracted to what you have. It's a call for you to give attention to that thing. And at the time you want to start giving attention to that thing, imagine it as a baby. Everything you pour into that baby is what you are going to get. Look at the journey of a mother, the journey to motherhood. 9 months. Everything you pour inside, every food you take, every element, every multivitamin, every of those things as you are taking it, every of the food you are pouring into that baby. And when the baby comes out big, robust, looking very good and handsome or beautiful, you know what has happened? Your 9 months journey of investing into that baby in the womb. That is just the summary. Friends, I want you to believe today that it is actually possible for you to discover your talent, to develop it, and to monetize it. Our world and the school system that we are brought up with has not done us any good in this regard. It has helped in a way to give us the awareness to knowledge, but it has not helped us to see our world connecting with the knowledge that we have gotten in school, to using it to bring out what is inside of us and using that knowledge to upgrade it to become something that can be paid for. That is what is missing. That is the missing link, friend. And I want to encourage you and challenge you, friends, at this very moment. Please, I don't want you to stop looking at yourself as, oh, this small thing that I have, nobody is going to pay for it. The world has changed for 360 degrees. And the world we used to live in, that we think everything has to be done until you see this person, you cannot do it. That world is gone. This is the world, and I want to be a part of that change. I want to raise a movement. I want to raise a community of women that are not going to be subservient, that are not going to end 30 years of their lives working at a job they don't love, only for them to now be regretting and be thinking as how they have wasted a lot of things and their ladder has been leaning on the wrong walls and they don't know where to now start. Friends, we can start the journey today. We can embark on this journey together, and it will only get better. Somebody said the best time to plant a tree is 40 years ago, and the second best time now, it is now. And that is why, friends, I'm going to encourage you that you should please empower yourself by giving everything you have into this space of discovery. And it is not going to come by just wishing it comes. It is going to come by you taking time to ask this question. And if you are there, I want you to just write this question down. And just by the time this is done, I want you to take your time and answer these questions by yourself, intelligently, and be alone by yourself. And don't you overthink it. That is another thing I want to say. When we overthink sometimes, and we may not be able to just give it a honest best answer you have. What I want to ask you is this. I have already talked about what you love to do. If what you love to do is not what you are doing at the moment, then you have to go and sit yourself down and ask yourself, what is that thing that in the journey of self-discovery, the first thing you must be able to identify it. What is that thing that I love to do, even though I'm not being paid? A lot of us are being paid presently for what we are good at, and it is because we've gone to school to learn that thing. And because you have gone to school to learn that thing, you are being paid for it, but it's actually not what you are passionate for. That if the question of finance and money is not to be in the equation, you will stop doing that work. And that is where you are going to now start this transition proper. That now, what is that thing that I love to do? Most of the time, if I'm left alone for 24 hours, nobody disturbing me, what is that thing that I will love to do? I want you to take a moment, put that question down and answer it. I am also going to, at the end of this call, I'm going to send a list, and I will make sure it is available to everybody. It will be more comprised and more compact together, so that you can sit down and answer this question. And the next question I want you to ask yourself is, what will I love to do even if I am not going to be paid for? What is that thing that I derive pleasure and joy in doing? That if they ask you to volunteer or to just do it, you will spend hours and you will not even know that it is 12 hours. You will just be on. Some of you, when you begin to look at it, you will begin to see pointers. Some of us are good at organization, good at organizing things. Some of us are good cook. You can sit down and prepare delicious and savory food that people will love to. Some of you, if they ask you to be in the kitchen, be cooking all day long, it's not a big deal for you. It is just as if a fish in its natural element in water. Some of you, if you are told to just come, maybe you just to advise, you are the type that give counsel, you encourage, you are just good. Some of us, you just have a lovely disposition that you just coming out. People just love to connect with you. Your smile, your face, your disposition, your personality. Those are the traits. Those are the pointer. What is that thing that people cannot, even though if they hate you, even if you ask your enemy, he can't deny about you? What are those things that you will do with pleasure and with joy? What are those things that gives you utmost satisfaction? What are those peculiar activities that when you do it, you are just at home? You are not being forced. It's like you don't even count it as work. Let's put it that way. You don't count it as work. Friends, these are the things you and I need to start paying attention. Anything you can do that you don't consider it as work, that is the journey. That is the journey. That is where it should start. That is where I want you to begin to imagine yourself. Because what has happened to the kind of the world we are being framed and we all grow up with, our parents, and they did not mean harm. They believe that there is a particular profession you have to go to, that once you are in that profession, you will not have any problem with job. That and they meant well. But actually, by them doing so, there are things they have done that they are not aware of. They have killed that thing that is inside of us, that is actually meant to be the thing that will attract us to our world. And so we'll start forcing ourselves to be reading books, to go through life, and when eventually we finish that, look at today now. Imagine how many people that are graduates now, that the course they studied is not what they are doing. There's even a survey that was done, a research that was done with regards to people that even went to Harvard. Can you imagine the prestigious Harvard University? That so many people that graduated at a particular year, every one of them, the percentage of people that are successful today, I don't know how to say it. It is a percentage of them that got to eventually do what they want to do. I'm sorry, there's somebody making a request and I'm unable to see the request. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to see where okay. All right. So I just want to try and see I'm going back to that story. All right. So let me just quickly admit these people that are here. Some people are waiting to all right. Okay. Yeah. So that invitation that I just said show us one thing, that if actually you decide and you went to the best university in the world, that is even not a guarantee. And many of them confess that they got to the university, the course they study, they are not even using it to today. They did not even use it. And I can relate to this. I studied chemistry and my second degree is in environmental management. But for once, even when I got into the state, I tried using the certificate. I tried all my basic and what have you. I did not get any job. Can you imagine? Even here in the US, can you imagine? Because you have to go and line up. As it is to the case of immigrants, once you are here, you have to pay. You are going to pay for the thing. You are going to wait. And so for me today, doing what I am doing now, I don't see it as work. Because I have been able to see that this is one of those things that have been my core in my being, but I never got anybody to show me the path. And so, friends, I want to congratulate you today for being on this call. If you have found yourself that all the years before now, you have found your ladder leaning on the wrong wall, it is never too late to begin. I tell you, friends, this is the best time you can begin to pay attention to what are those things that people have been talking to you about, that you are good at this thing, but you have just been ignoring it. You feel it is nothing. And I've just shown you the picture that anytime, anything you pour, anything you give time and attention to, it is a question of time you are going to reap. Thank you very much for joining, Francis. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone that is here on this call. I am so happy you are here. I'm so grateful. And so, where I'm going to be ending this call is, what is the journey to you discovering yourself? It starts with awareness. Are you aware of yourself? Be aware of your environment. Do you notice some certain traits about you? Because you can be living in a place, you can be living in a house and actually not know every member of the house. That is me. I was living my life for 30 years. I was working. I was doing something that I had no passion for. And it was like I'm forcing myself to live. And in that space of life, you will not be your best. You will not give your best to that thing. You always want to do it with the barest minimum energy you have, because actually it is not what you want. And so, friends, that is why when you look at it in the beginning, the way God designed it is for you to be able to see what you have inside of you, begin to use it, begin to nurture it. And now, when you now find a job that is in line with what you love, and you are able to use that job to solve a problem that the world is looking for, you have started living. That is the beginning. That is the meaning of living. That is when you live and you don't retire. That is when you live life and your life is not in any way miserable and you are not in any way having regret for what you have done, for what you are doing. That is when you will not even look at the time. And that is what it means when you see people that are dead now, yes, and their name is still ringing. Their name is still ringing. We are still making reference to them. One thing that is the difference between us and them is what we are talking about. They have been able to locate one part of them that is their place of strength. They build it. And they started using it to serve their world. The world is in need of service. The world is in need of people that are true and authentic and that can help solve problems. And friends, I want you to look all around you. Any problem you can cite. You can look at some children. Maybe they are going to school, and each time they are in school, you notice that some of these children, actually there's a part of them that is missing. Maybe you see them, they are not bold, they are timid, they are not confident. Those things is a pointer that there's something wrong at home. Maybe those children, they are not raised with parents that have wholesome value. They are not raised with parents that impute confidence in them. Maybe their parents, they are not good role models for them. And maybe you are just the person they are waiting for. Maybe you can just start just teaching or just organizing on maybe every Saturdays, children in your neighborhood, or maybe every weekend. You just go around neighbors and you just go out to the park and you start inviting children and you start teaching them. Or you can even be online, people starting YouTube channel and just teaching. This is the journey. I need to tell you my journey, and that I did not just finally find myself here. This journey, I just knew there was a gap in my life. I knew there was a gap. I was going through life, but my life is like even trying, but nothing to show for it. And I gain proximity, and that is why this community, even when we end these 3 days, we are still going to be. And I've also promised for everybody that joined, I'm going to be having a one-on-one discussion call with each other. There is an assessment that you and I can decide to take. Do you remember when we were in the olden days, when you want to repair a car? What do? You take it to the workshop of the mechanic, and the man just tries he use trial and error. He asks you to start the engine, he listen to the sound. He asks you to press the brake, he listen to the sound. He asks you to stop the engine. He just give you all of those things, all those trial and error. And at the end of the day, he will tell you, oh, the sound is from the exhaust. Oh, that thing is in the engine. Oh, that thing is in the tire. That the sound, he will just use some of the guesswork of what he's been learned. But do you know, 20 years away from that school, do you know that now if you have any sound, anything wrong with your car, you only need to just pack it to the engineer and what have you. There is a sensor. They only need to do what? They only need to insert it to the brain box inside the car. It's going to read and download every damn thing that is wrong with the car. Can you see? I just want to tell you that there are some personality traits and tests that you can test, that you can take, that will help you to discover everything about your personality that you've not been able to discover. We have the Gallup assessment test. We have so many of them. And I'll be recommending one for us that you just take. And it will help you further in getting to know your particular, this time around, when you want to fix that problem, you know what the problem is. You know where to fix. You are not going to waste time. That is it. How many of you have seen yourself in any way that you are trying to talk or do something, get some people attention, and some of them may look at you and say, this girl, why is she loud? She's too loud. She's too this. That trait, it is not useless. So they may consider you to be loud, but do you know there are certain dimension and there are certain experience of life you have to be bold and stand your ground and use your voice. And to some of people, they may look at you and they don't know that it is that part of you, that leader aspect of you, the aspect of you that the lion of you is the one talking. And it is a trait that has been given to you by God. And there is a space for it. There is a place for it. Look at the people that are activists. Look at activists, human rights activists, people that goes out there to fight for the cause of humanity. Do you know that some people, they may not have that trait? You might just be the slow and the easy-going type, but you also have your trait. You may not be the type that is outspoken, but do you know you can be the type that when you write, when people read your words, your word can flog. Have you seen some people write a piece and you just sit down and you imagine, oh my God, and you just imagine as if the person is describing and you are looking at the word, the description as if it's a picture, as a movie. That is a gift. That is a gift, friends. That is your wiring. And can you imagine that person saying he has nothing? And all he's doing is just to go and bury himself in a place for 9 to 5 and leave this thing that he has undone, untouched. That is the greatest thing that we can do to ourselves, friends. From today, I want you to know that the journey to self-discovery begins at the gate of awareness. And how you are going to get to the place where you begin to start living the true you that the world has not got to meet starts from today by you sitting yourself down and asking yourself some of these questions that I've just raised. That who am I when nobody is watching? What are those things that I really love? When I was little, what are those things that I told myself I want to become? Because I tell you, friends, every of those things, they are pointers. They are pointers. If we have guidance to guide us in line with those things and with the necessary skill, with the necessary investment in training, in learning, it is going to sharpen that skill. It is going to sharpen that talent. It's going to upgrade it. Just like the way you see diamond and gold, when they are still being seen, they look like something you can disdain, something that you can just ignore. But when they finish the work, friends, you will be surprised at the same thing. And it becomes shining. It is the one word that I said at the beginning of this journey that you never forget. Don't you ever mistake that your planting season will be the same as your harvest season. Don't mistake the two. The planting season of your life is the season where you and I are in now. And that is the season where we want to discover. It is the season where we want to get to know who is this. It is the season. Oh my God, sorry. I just want to quickly admit some people that all right, that are here at the moment. Let me just quickly do that.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Oh my God.
From
I'm
here,
sorry. I'm happy
to be with you at this very moment.
I'm using my computer and
I just want to
okay,
appreciate every one of you that get to
right.
see this video.
I'm sorry. In bit to admit some people, I just got myself into that. So now I am here. So in the journey to becoming, okay, they are all approved. Yeah. Okay. So where am I today? I want you to see it that today we can start this journey. And the first thing is ask yourself those questions and be genuine. Be genuine at answering those questions, because I have said it. Whatever you love, what you are passionate for, what the world need. If you are in the middle, you are in the middle. Once you are able to locate that three triangle I've just described, what you love to do, what you are passionate for, and what the world needs, and you are in the middle. If you are able to connect the dot with these things I've just mentioned, you will start living. And anytime you exercise you exercise yourself in that, you will see that you are not struggling. You will see that it is coming to you naturally. You will see that it is something that you are doing and you are not being forced. And it is when you and I get into that point, that is when so I want you to see that when you decide to start doing this by design, to start paying attention to your IKIGAL, it's going to start giving meaning to your life. You will begin to see that, okay, you are contributing. You will now begin to see the difference between just going out there on the social media and just doing whatever anybody tells you to do, and between you going there to use it as a tool to bring about a change in some of the areas of life, and you are beginning to bring meanings. You are beginning to add value to some other people's life. You are beginning to engage with other people, and you are helping them to see that actually their life is not useless because they are doing this. So I'm going to be helping us because of what modern science and research have done. There is something like the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, orders, and threats, and there is this what is this name of this that can help you do a 5-step assessment on your strength. When you match your strength with what your talent is, and you add it with a skill by going to learn more about that thing, what do you think happens when you see some guys that are virtually, maybe because they are tall, and because of that some of them start to go for basketball or any other sporting activity that has to do with their height, that will help them maximize their height. And when they discover that, they go to get a coach that starts to train them. And what happens? Even your child, when you start going to take that child out to go and get trained as a basketballer, do you know what happened in the space of a year? This is where I want us to begin this journey. That you and I, we are not going to write ourselves, or we are not going to believe that that talent that we have is useless. We are going to believe that by giving it enough time and begin to polish it with skill, by begin to polish it with knowledge, going into the space of researching, going to the best of people that are doing what we love to do, we are going to refine that thing. And when the time of harvest comes, you are going to be attracting people. Just like you see an orange ripe on a tree. It's not going to shout. You are the one that will go and look for something to pluck it, because it's attractive. You want it. You love it. That is how our life is meant to be by design. That people look at us, they engage with us. You just exchange compliments, pleasantry to somebody, and by you talking, they can connect with something about you, and that thing is an invitation for them to know you have something you can offer to them. And I tell you, friend, this journey, it's not something that just happened by chance. That one day, maybe when I resign, maybe when I retire from this job, I will go and start. Friends, no. It is time. I want us to use this journey to start, and we won't end. It won't end after these 3 days. I am willing to commit to as many people that are willing to lock hands and to do this together until we get to that place where we are able to unravel the very core of our being and what we are truly been meant to be doing. And that is when I will be happy that I have also living. Because when you do that, you know what we have helped ourselves to do? We have helped each other to locate what our friend is missing. When that my friend gets it, you know what she's going to be doing? She's going to be solving another problem that the world is in need of. And do you know, maybe your own is in the area of parenting and getting children the necessary moral values they need to have inside of them while they are growing. Just don't mind me if you see my little kiddo, what she's doing at the other side of the event. I don't want to go there, but I just want to be here for you. And I want to also make sure that I stay committed to the time, that it's a 1 hour training and I am not going to exceed that. I want to make sure that the little time we interact together, we are able to come out with something. And what is that thing? That knowledge to start the thinking. That conscious awakening of us that actually my life must not continue to go like this. I actually need to pay, because you are the one in charge. Every decision you took between the first time you were born till now is what brought you to where you are now. And if where you are now is not the best, you see that there is more to your life than what you have now. And you know inside of you that every time you shut your eyes and you think and you are alone, you know what you are doing. You can do something more than what you are doing. That is the journey. That is where I want to connect you to. That is where I want us to begin. And that today, if there's anything you have done to bring you to that consciousness of the fact that, wow, it is time for me to start living. I want to start the real life. And every of those things that one time or the other that somebody has praised you of, you want to go and notice those things. Go and write them down. And don't discard it. Maybe it just came on me. No. Go and look at your childhood experience. Go and ask your friends that you were growing up together. Ask your colleagues at work. Let them ask them, what do you see me when I work with you? What is the best thing about me that you like? What is that thing? Even your boss at work. Do you know that some of us, we are in a job that sometimes some of other skills that we have is what is helping that company to grow. That even if the company should leave us, if they get somebody else, it is not about that skill or getting somebody to do that job. But there is something you bring along to that job that nobody else can bring. Do you know? These are the pointers. Even your boss will notice that this lady is good at this area, even though this is what I employ her to be doing. There is no gainsaying that she is a good person to be doing this job. And sometimes they will just go and train you in that area. They will just ask you to go for more training, and you think they are doing you good. Actually, they need you to help them to continue to move their organization forward. And so that is why if you are in a job today and you are not doing anything to add value to yourself, you are not doing anything to sharpen yourself, you are not engaging in any training to help that talent, that skill, that thing you have, that you are not doing yourself the best service. And it is time that when you finish your 9 to 5 from today, anytime you finish your 9 to 5, give yourself a time to rest, start your own 5 to 9. Make sure you spend at least an hour on yourself. If you locate yourself, you see, okay, you are somebody that is very good, outspoken person, you love to meet, go and discover, if I want to, at the world best, if I want to compete in the world's best, who are those people I need to start following? Who are those people that are doing this thing perfectly well? I want you to take time and write their name. Go and write down the name of the best 5 people that are doing what you love to do. And they are doing it marvelously well. Write it.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Mommy.
When you do that, do you know what you have done to yourself? Yeah. You have given yourself the permission to start your journey to growth. And that journey to growth, how is it going to start? It is going to start by you doing what? Learning. Submerging yourself to learning. Giving yourself every 1 hour every day to go to those sites to go and learn. To go into those people, to watch them. To go into those YouTube channels and to search for those keywords and those topics and begin to listen to it. 30 minutes a day to read a book that touch about that subject. And I will be happy that you have started the journey, that you have begun the journey. And it's a question of time. The harvest is sure. Friends, thank you very much for your time. I cannot even say the joy that is in my heart that even me, And that is why I want you to know that we are together in this journey. That I am not there. I might just be a step, maybe a step or two steps ahead of you. But that this thing that is called journey to self-discovery, it is real. And it is something that can happen to you and I. I am on that journey. And the best of me is not yet folded yet. I am unfolding. Every day I am a work in progress. I want that for you. And I want to encourage you to join me tomorrow. Same time. Let us continue to build on the building block of what we have started today, on how we can make our life a masterpiece, on how we can start the journey of designing our life to becoming the actual real one that God has called us to be. This is what this class is for. If you enjoy this session, please invite someone. Send the link to a friend of yours. Let's join hands together tomorrow and learn. And after a while, I will also post those questions. Everything together, I will send it on the same group so that you can use it to answer those questions. And please, I beg you, give it a try. Don't overthink. Just give it an answer. And let's start from there. Many of us have already on that journey already. Some of us know some of these things. We just need to begin to bring them together to form a picture that we can connect with, and we can begin to start the journey to doing what you love and using it to solve the world problem and getting paid for it. This is the ultimate to living and not retiring and working till old age and still be happy showing up. God bless you. I love you. Thank you, Suad. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you, Melbel. Thank you, Francis. I saw Kevin. Thank you, every one of you that joined. Thank you, Lola. Thank you, Adiola. Thank you, every one of you. I'm so grateful for your time. Tomorrow is another day. If you have gotten one thing, I know some of you have already written something in the comments. Please go ahead after now and write in the comments what you have gotten. Yes. Thank you very much, Pearl. I love that. Planting season can never be the harvest. Yes. So true, so true. Thank you for that. Thank you. So that is why we are in our planting season now. And I know by the time we're looking 9 months from now, 12 months from now, we will remember today and we know we will not be where we because we have taken a step. Thank you, Francis. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adiola, my namesake. Thank you, Sister Adiola Adeni. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Suad. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Deeply grateful. I will see you tomorrow. But make sure you go back and check this group. In an hour from now, I will be posting those questions that I want you to use as your own reflection time. Maybe when there is no distraction, use it to answer those questions. And let's begin to see how we can connect the dots and pull the puzzle together. I love you. Thank you for your time. Blessings. Bye from now. See you tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Bye. Thank you very much, Mabel.